WFM 91.7.
Good morning, it is 11:30 on Women Radio, WFM 91.7, and you're welcome on Her Voice. Her Voice is a deliberate program that condemns all forms of violence and discrimination against women and girls. Her Voice is an initiative of Women Radio 91.7 in partnership with Action Aid Nigeria and supported by Global Affairs Canada. On 26 October 2022, the Central Bank of Nigeria introduced the newly redesigned note and the new limit on large cash withdrawals to help recover about 85% of the total currency in circulation outside the banking system. Now, it was said that this would help curb money laundering and encourage digital transactions. Now, this push by the CBN to replace the old banknotes with the new ones has left very limited cash in circulation, causing frustration, hunger and anger, people having to spend hours at the banks just to access their money, people taking to the street to protest, and this has caused violence and chaos across the country. Businesses are being looted by angry protesters, and in this light, a lot of women who happen to be petty traders are suffering due to this policy at this time. Now, it is important that we get to discuss increasing women's financial empowerment because at this time, we know already that a lot of women suffer lack of economic resources as compared to men. And with women owning about 43% of businesses in the country, the struggles of petty trader women at this time cannot be ignored. Today on Her Voice on Women Radio 91.7, I'll be speaking with Dr. Abiola Akinode-Afolabi, Executive Director, Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, Ward C, and we're discussing NAIRA scarcity and how it affects women financial empowerment. Be a part of the conversation, 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message this morning, 070 317 56537, to be a part of the conversation. You can listen live via the website www.wfm917.com. Download the mobile app to listen live, WFM 917. My name is Esther Alaribi, and yes, we're speaking to Dr. Abiola Akinode-Afolabi this morning on Her Voice. So we went on the street to ask Nigerian women in the rural communities how the NAIRA scarcity has affected them, and this is what they have to say.
I know they feel come out again because I know they see money where I go use enter a bus go where I won't go. Another thing, when you enter market go buy something, the only person we get POS or where they do transfer you go fit buy from.
Irú èmi yóò jẹ èmi ta láti ìgbà tọ́rọ̀ owó yìí ti ṣẹlẹ̀ tó ti dogun ká mọ́ gbà mọ́ ọjọ́ yá mọ́ bá a ṣe ń dè gbolura là ń dàrúra àpadà ń dà mínú gan ni tí gbèsè ti wọlé lọ́nà kọ.
NAIRA scarcity o maybe go ihe ịchọrọ ịpụ ị ga-afụ ego ị ga-eji wee maybe ịchọrọ ịba keke and omega affect business.
Muna sha wahala mu da muna kasuwa wallahi ba kasuwa in mu je mu siya kasuwa ma waje mutane mu kamar ni yanzu na sai da doya wallahi ba su ansa transfer su sai suna so kudin su ma ba cash.
This money we no dey Nigeria, don't worry us tire to go market go buy something and war because for market women dey gree take transfer. Most of the market women they no get accounts.
Fàárẹ̀ ṣàánú wa àmọ̀kúnrún ebi ń pa wá even ga àwọn school ga àrówó fún wọn tí ó fi lọ iléèwé wọ́n dó sí wa lọ́rùn ní ẹ ṣàánú wa ìhun tára ní 20 naira 50 naira 100 naira wọ́n ń pè fún wa nísìnyí owó yẹn àárí náà bó ṣe wù wá.
But it's scatter business where we no fit buy market, we no fit sell market because if they come, they do transfer. Many of us, if we no see them, we no agree make the customer carry the market go. For that reason, the market go dey. The customer back go dey hungry. Shey you see am?
Ihe gbasara ego na-adịghị ugbu a, o meela ọtụtụ ihe m kwesịrị na-eme, anaghị m eme ya. Ịpụ ego azụrụ ihe a na-eri eri, aghọgo ọgbachi. Nsịkwanụ ka m gaa n'ọba ego gaa were ego, iruo ị ga-ahụ ego.
Tá bá lọ ra nǹkan bí 50 naira lọ́jà lẹ́nu ìgbà tọ́rọ̀ owó yìí ṣẹlẹ̀ wọ́n á pé 200 nǹkan tí wọ́n bá ń tà 300 wọ́n á pé 1000.
So, having to engage Dr. Abiola this morning, Nigerians, you can tell it's not been easy on everybody. The scarcity of the NAIRA note has been one whole conversation that everybody can relate to at this time. Even traders in the market are not having it at all. Even those who can even afford to make online transactions. As customers, we get to ask to add some extra cost before you can make the transaction. So when they also get to go to the POS operators to get this money, so they can also have the extra charges ready for them, so they don't have to pay their own money. And this also affects women in a way that these women who happen to be traders in the market, petty traders, how does it affect them? It affects them so much that women who sell perishable goods, day-to-day goods, they are having to be stranded because people don't get to patronize them anymore like they would because of lack of cash. How many of these women can afford to go get POS for them to use for their businesses? How many of them can take online transactions? Talking about the online transactions, we know what bank networks have been like in recent times, and these are things that we get to raise concerns about and how it affects women financial empowerment. Yes, at this time where everybody in the country is feeling the brunt of it, even organizations, we have NGOs who get to put funds together to set up different capacity building training or give out to the women, organize skill trainings for women in different parts of the country. We don't get to see a lot of that at this time because everybody's just holding on to just say, okay, yes, after the elections, after everything is done, when there's cash back in circulation or whatever the reality is going to be like, we're going to be able to make that shift. But as it is right now, we're not there yet. So that's why we're going to be having this conversation this morning with Dr. Abiola Akinode-Afolabi, who is going to be telling us more about this. All right, so going into the conversation. Good morning, Doctor. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Dr. Abiola. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us. So we're discussing the NAIRA scarcity and how it affects women financial empowerment. So how has it been like your end? Have you had access to cash? How have you been coping?
Well, it's been a hell of a thing. Now if you have 1,000 naira, you have to keep it and manage it because you don't know when you are going to be able to get another one. I think during this process for the last 6 weeks or thereabout when they started, I will only had access to 5,000 naira cash, which was something that I had to line up in Sterling Bank, to get. And since then, I haven't been lucky, to get another naira. So now it's naira for naira.
Yeah.
So if you are in need of naira, you have to pay 1,500 to be able to get 10,000 naira. So this is really a lot of hardship, Most of the places you have to transfer money, to people. Some people can't get it. I have transferred, for example, this morning, coming from Abuja to the taxi that took me.
Okay.
And the taxi has not since 7 a.m. because I came on the first night. The taxi man has not been able to this morning, up to now. And I could see the bank writing to me to say, we apologize for the delay in processing your transaction. Please be assured that this is currently receiving adequate attention. So the man has not seen it much. So what that also shows to us that in the process of transfer, people are losing money. So this is really a lot of hardship for Nigeria. The man has not received his money. Maybe they won't be able to credit him tomorrow. And they might have a plan for the money and all of that. So Nigeria faced with multiple challenges like this. So, and for women, it's really, really bad because we are in the formal sector. People lose money every day. There are things that they have to buy that they cannot transfer because the people that they are selling to cannot transfer from them.
Yeah.
So these are some of the people that they are selling to cannot transfer from them. So these are some of the challenges, have really been a big concern for. So while personally one would say yes, there should be redesign of the 200, 500, 1,000 notes. It can help to control the kind of currency that is in circulation and also help to disarm those who are keeping the money for holding the naira notes, whether for the dollar has gone up, who are using it for trading and all of that. And but I think that if we want to have a plan like this as a country, we must have an adequate step to take to be able to solidify this kind of ideas.
Okay.
This is a lot of hardship.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Abiola. Yes, you mentioned it already that this policy, the current reality is biting hard on women. Now, let's take it down to women financial empowerment. Don't you think this is going to give cause some kind of setback in women financial empowerment, looking at the fact that there's some women who, for example, a petty trader who trades on 5,000 naira every single day, and by the time she gets to sell her goods, she goes back to the market to take out the profit to make what she can for her children or for her family, and she's still running on that money. But right now, we don't get to see a lot of people coming to patronize due to lack of cash. So how would you say this has affected women?
Empowerment, it's actually the ability to get women to and Nigerian women are very in the small sector, have really come of age, whether they are poverty traders or not. Nigerians are always with traders all their life. I mean, women are always with traders, whether in the market, whether in as fashion designer, whether, and these are people who exchange money on daily basis. So, small businesses and all of that. So, this cash crunch has really, really affected their ability to be able to make decisions, because we are empowered when we don't have the money to be able to make a decision on it. In this regard, they have been disempowered because people don't have the money, to talk of having ability to be able to make a decision, because empowerment is that decision. So what the government has done with this short period is to take that power for them to be able to make that decision. Away from them on the money that they have worked for. So it's really a major setback for women's financial empowerment, particularly women with small businesses, women in the informal sector who believe in buying and selling.
All right. So what kind of advice would you prefer to these women at this time? Because when you go on the streets, you hear these women complaining, but you can't even do any more because you also do not have the cash at hand to try to support them. And I was just mentioning earlier before you joined, saying that even NGOs, organizations who get to support women, get to support the cause of women in the area of financial empowerment, everybody is just waiting now until after the elections. Most activities you're hearing until after the elections. People cannot do so much right now.
Yeah, so what this is also telling us is that we need to prepare for situations like this. COVID was a life changer. People say this one is also no cash, co-cash, the time they come to you by Kosovo, like all of that. Kosovo feed, So this is a major challenge. And we need to repeat our date. I don't know whether you saw in that people should go and put money in food in the house for 3 days because of the coming election, because you don't know what's going to happen. There can be some things that will make people to stay at home, for a while before coming out. And so if you see things like that, then people are asking, which food are we going to buy? Where is the money to buy the food? So one of the things is that this is also showing us that we need to get more women, because one of the financial management behavior is also getting technology, to be a base of finance. Some countries in Africa, like South Africa, they don't also use a lot of cash. So what is important to show actually is about plenty cash. People talk about cashless society, which is the technology thing, but it says we didn't say cashless, it's less cash society. So it doesn't mean that use cash. Even in America, they use cash. Despite the fact that they have ATM that are working. So what we then need to do is to gradually be looking at how grassroots women are going to invite the mobile technology, the kind of what they call mobile money, in such a way that to help with their economic empowerment.
Okay.
So that if such a things like this happen, somebody was telling me that in South Africa, everybody has like a small app, and they train everybody. It's very easy. So you don't really need the pass. So you just put a small app. It's going to be like a small phone. So even if you are selling tomatoes outside, someone just puts his card on it. Another thing. We need to start looking at. So if that is their plan, because we also be their plan, that's one of their opportunities. One of their idea is to move on to that level. Where would not be having cash. It might also be useful for at least some of us who know you cannot have any money in your bag or in your purse or at home, and all of that. Then, of course, even the kidnapping and banditry thing, they know that there's no way you can bring a huge amount of cash, to them. So it has its own advantage, it has its own, disadvantage. So we must rethink our day-to-day survival and see how we can exercise better control over the kind of resources that we have without depending on cash. So we need to further equip women to be able to participate fully in the economy through that way. So there are a lot of financial literacy programs that we should be focusing on so that people understand how to do this in a way that and also say those government accountable, ask government the right questions, on our ability to be able to use the little money that we have, so that we don't have control over our life, control over our resources, over our money, and we cannot say when we have the money and not. So generally, I think that we must look at the context of empowerment from a much more very broad, perspective. And once women get there too, that's when we also have the kind of power that we need to be able to participate in the society.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Abiola. Thank you for joining the conversation this morning.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes. So we've been able to speak to Dr. Abiola Akeode-Afolabi, Executive Director of Women Advocate Research and Documentation Center, WATC, and she's been able to tell us some of the things that these women have to do at this time. Yes, this policy is here. For now, we just have to keep making the push. Try as much as possible to adjust with what the realities are on. If you have to go open a bank account so your customers can make transactions into there directly, if you can afford to get a POS, yes, by all means, go and do it. Times are changing, things are evolving, and we have to move along with it. So, yes, we call on the authorities and stakeholders to take sustainable options, make decisions in a way that it will favor the women, bring some kind of support to Nigerians on those challenges caused by the new NAIRA notes not being accessible, so that we can have all our economic activities, social activities back to normal, and Nigerians can move ahead with their lives. We don't have to see people protesting or gathering on the road because of lack of funds or not being able to access their money. So yes, this is what we want to see. Thanks to the production team. Her Voice holds every third Tuesday, and Her Voice is an initiative of Women Radio 91.7 in partnership with Action Aid Nigeria and supported by Global Affairs Canada.
WFM 91.7. 0.7. 0.7. 0.7. 0.7. 0.7. 0.7. 0.7. 0.7. 0.7. 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, WFM 91.7.